Righty ho, winemaking, hairy wine productions from Steve. Right, okay, wine expert box. Now, one thing, never ever trust the bottom of these boxes, because I did have one drop out a while ago, and I'll tell you the grape juice took ages to clear up. Right, so we'll move on to just show you what's in there. Okay, we've got a couple of sets of chemicals there. This is bentonite clay, which I'll tell you about in a minute. This is the yeast, the magic bit, and then these three sachets, which is sulfate, sorbate, quisisol and chitosan. They're all for clearing the wine on the second stage. I'll do another video about that actually. Right, I've got a pressure keg there. They are the best kegs to use because they've got a screw top. You can make it in a bucket, but you do risk an infection. So I always use a pressure keg which has a top like that, screwed down. So, right. Not brilliant at doing videos, me. Right, listen, now the bentonite, okay? What they tell you on the instructions with the bentonite clay is to put it in the keg and stir. If you do that, it will go in one almighty lump. They don't tell you that. So I'm just going to show you what I do with that. And it works, trust me. Now, right, bentonite. So give it a bit of a bash and make sure, give it a squeeze to make sure there's no lumps in it, okay? And snip the top off. And now here's the bit I've invented. And pour it very slowly. And that's the first thing to go into the keg. Voila! And you can see there's still some that hasn't dissolved, so I'm just going to put a bit of warm water in there, and I'm going to whiz it up again quickly. Straight in the keg, no lumps. Right. Opening the box. Now this is really stupid, but you might want to get a grown-up to help you with this. I was being sarcastic. The box comes with a lid like this, and it is impossible to get off, so you need a blunt knife under it and give it a bit of welly, and it fires off like that. Now they give you, I don't know if you can see, there is a slot, a cutout slot on the box, but about 6 or 7 months ago they stopped perforating it properly. So again, you're going to have to be really careful, and I'm just going to follow because it doesn't push out. So I'm going to cut a little hole. Should be alright. Okay. Hopefully I can poke it through like that, look, which will just hold the neck clear. Next bit, and don't spill any because it is a nightmare, it's so sticky. This is going to go into the barrel, into the bentonite. You want to pause it. Right, when you've done that, there's still a bit of grape juice and all the must. And sometimes you'll find sediment and stuff in there. So just rinse the bag out. Put some cold water. Give it a good old shake. Get the last of that flavour in there. Now then, this is kind of the crucial bit. You want the temperature, this has got a temperature thing on the outside, you want the temperature to be about 22, 24 maximum as you top up, and you're going to top up to just under the line, about 23 litres, which is 30 bottles or thereabouts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip the tap on, and I'm going to make sure that the water going in there is kind of room temperature. And as it fills up, I'm going to do it quite slowly. I'm going to keep watching. I'm on 22 at the moment, so I'm fine. And I'm going to give it a bit of a wind as well. Make sure it's all mixed in. Make sure the bentonite clay mixes well with it. So the aim of this, and if it's too hot or too cold, you're going to have to put a heater in it and just wait patiently before the next stage when you add the yeast. We'll pause it and I'll Right, so we filled that up, we got it to 22, which is perfect. 24 is okay, and we're just below that line there, we're on 23 litres. Now I'm going to do the yeast. So there's the yeast, again, give it a flick. Now you don't stir the yeast in, you just pour it in the top. Make sure you get all of it, and you have to say the magic spell, which is go and poo some alcohol, little yeast. That's magic. So I'll put all the yeast in and I'm just going to pour it, not stir it. And that pretty much is it, apart from the lid goes on as tight as you possibly can. By the way, these are blooming heavy, so be careful. Might be an idea to get a nice strong person to do it, or failing that, Lee. Thermometer. I mean, heater. Right. Heater, I'm just going to plop in like that. You have to adjust it so that it's obviously the right height, because this lead does pull through, and that, when it's all in place, will just hang in the water like that and keep it up to temperature. So I'm going to drop that in like that. What I've also done, because when it starts fermenting, there's air loss through that, so I've had to bung it up with blue tack just to make sure. I'll plug that in a minute. Pause it. Last bit, I'm just going to drop one of these in. Don't overfill it, it's been sterilised. I'm going to wind that onto the top, and that's ready to go. Here's one I prepared earlier, which has been clearing for about 3 or 4 days now. That's almost ready to bottle. We'll come on to that at a later stage. So that will sit there for 24 hours, sometimes 36, before it really starts fermenting, and then it will go absolutely bonkers. Now I'm just going to show you a bit of equipment that you will need. And I said about red wine, not very good at this, am I? Right, this little gizmo here is called a wine thief, okay? And I'll show you exactly what it does. Now the only thing we're doing red wine is that the wine thief has a valve at the bottom, you see, and when you need to test your wine to see if it's fermented, you drop the wine thief into the barrel, you draw it out, and out comes a sample of wine. Now you can see it's dripping a little bit. If you use the red wine, you've got oat chips that you add, and they will clog it up, so it's going to be a messy affair when you come to test the wine to see whether it's ready for the next stage. That's the only difference with red and white wine, is that things like the wine thief will clog up with the oat chips and leak everywhere. So just, you know, there you go. But they do a really good, you know, if you wanted to start with a red, I'm doing a Pinot Grigio here, but they also do Cabernet Sauvignon is really good, and they also do a Chilean Merlot and a Chilean Malbec, which is pretty awesome. That concludes part 1. I'll send the rest in about 10 days when it's finished fermenting. Good luck. See ya.